We were numb, I think.
Yeah, very numb.
After Hannah finally passed, she hung on till her brother came back from the mines. And as we were walking down, it was storming. We had a bit of a chuckle that it was Hannah telling the kids to get to bed.
She's still controlling.
She's still telling them that they're still playing up at bedtime. I called into bed with Aaliyah's favourite little elephant. And next morning we got up, took the dogs and went for a walk through the bush.
And the next day there's just all these yellow butterflies.
Everywhere,
just butterflies everywhere. You've got the butterflies on the emblem as well, Hannah's feet and the butterflies. So I thought, well, it's a bit of a sign sort of thing.
It is.
The I Catch Killers podcast was a fresh start for me, as I left policing behind and started a new life. Over the years, we've laughed together, cried, and shared some powerful moments. Welcome to I Catch Killers.
Welcome back to part 2 of my chat with Sue and Lloyd Clarke. They're the parents of Hannah Clarke and the grandparents of Aaliyah, 6 years old, Leanna, 4 years old, and Trey, 3 years old, who were all murdered in February 2020 in a crime that shocked the nation when they were doused in petrol and set alight in their vehicle by Rowan Bagster, Hannah's husband and the father of the children. Guys, welcome back.
Ready to go.
Yep.
I'm glad you guys are. It's a pretty heavy subject that we're talking about, and I apologise that reliving it, but
no, it's not a problem.
The things that we're going to talk about in part 2, I think, are of vital importance, and making sure if in any way we can prevent this type of thing happening. We left part 1 when you've been informed. You found out that what had happened to Hannah and the children. Talk us through the next 48 hours.
We were numb, I think.
Yeah, very numb.
After Hannah finally passed, she hung on till her brother came back from the mines. We had to ring him and get him flown back home. And we said goodbye to her. And then we were just numb, I think, in a bit of a daze. It had been one hell of a long day. And we got home and, I don't know, for some reason we all decided, we had Nat and Stacey with us, that we would go down to the corner just to see what was there, the flowers. And as we were walking down, it was storming. And we had a bit of a chuckle that it was Hannah telling the kids to get to bed.
She's still controlling.
She's still telling them that they're still playing up at bedtime. And then the next morning, I think, well, we didn't sleep. Neither of us slept a wink. I called into bed with Aaliyah's favourite little elephant. And next morning we got up, took the dogs and went for a walk through the bush.
Yeah. And that day, so it rained that night, a big storm came through. It was just typical February weather up here, humid, sticky. And the next day there's just all these yellow butterflies. Everywhere, just butterflies everywhere. And that's why we've got the butterflies on the emblem as well, Hannah's feet and the butterflies. So I thought, well, it's a bit of a sign sort of thing.
It is.
But for those the next couple of months, we were just numb. We didn't know what to do, where to go.
No.
And then next thing was sort of
and we had these feet we didn't know what to do with. In ICU, when someone's going to die, they give you a handprint of that person to keep. Well, the only thing that was left of Hannah was the soles of her feet, because she'd had joggers on, so they didn't get burnt. So we were given her footprints.
Yeah. And I can't remember how long after the AC.
It was only a couple of days.
So Current Affair wanted us to do an interview, and they somehow got a hold of Nat, and Nat said, "Oh, we'll go do this interview, for a Current Affair with Tracy." And we didn't really want to do it, Sue and I thought, "Oh, really?" So we're getting.
I didn't want to. I refused at first.
Yes.
2
and
days
the
after.
police were still looking after us, the detectives.
Yeah.
They were like our personal bodyguards, and they were just with
Really
us.
good.
Next morning they just turned up. Are you okay? What can we do? Can we get you anything? So they were wonderful. And we've now formed really good friendships with
Nice.
Tomo and Shan. We keep in touch all the time. And they were driving us to for the interview.
Yeah.
It was set up in a private house somewhere. They'd Airbnb one. So we're given the location. And as I'm walking out, I said, hang on, I just want to grab these. I said, I want the nation to know.
Yeah.
That's all we've got left of Hannah.
The
footprints.
The ink prints of
Yeah.
the feet.
And so we did the interview. I showed the world her feet. You know, we come home after that, and I suppose we're having a few drinks. We're sitting around, and while we're there, we're talking to Lou and Simon about, you know, that was friends of Hannah, you know, about maybe starting a foundation. You know, maybe we should do education. Let's look at all this. So then that's when we started getting the ideas around, you know, sort of footprints.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what we're doing. We'll just do small steps.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
let's do small steps for Hannah and make it for the four of them.
Yeah.
So that's how that sort of all came about, you know, the foundation, the symbol, and then we put the yellow butterflies. So we got the feet for Hannah, and the yellow butterflies are the kids. Three
And the
yellow
feet are
butterflies.
supposed to be teal because teal was her favourite colour.
Yeah.
And the pink because she was forbidden to wear pink.
So symbolic,
Yeah.
symbolic, and I think it sort of really brings home that that's what you're left of Hannah, the
Yeah.
footprints.
And then when you look at it too, in age,
Yeah,
Hannah, Aaliyah, Leanna, Trey, Holt.
yeah,
So that became our
okay.
saying is, you know, to halt domestic violence.
Well,
And I'd like to see it be Holt law, not Hannah's law,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
everyone knows Hannah, but we're forgetting the kids.
Yeah.
yeah,
So if we call it the Holt law,
okay.
isn't that,
Covers
you
it
know,
all.
it's got
Yeah,
the
well,
whole element.
I understand your thought process there. So when you said you waited till Nathan came down from the mines
Yep.
for Hannah to say goodbye, did you get to speak to her after the event? Was she
They had her heavily sedated.
right?
Yeah, we never got. I spoke to her,
Yeah,
but she didn't respond.
Okay, all right. So you've got to move forward. I think a couple of things that really touched me was the vigil, the community the vigil there at the parkland. That 1,000 people there.
We were shocked.
Did you see it? Did you get a sense of what was happening and involved in it?
It was just crazy. We got a knock at the front door, and here's the mayor and his wife and our local councillor and police commissioner, and on our door. We never spent time with people like that. We were normal people, and we let them into our humble little house, and they said, we would like to do this. We feel the community needs it and would like it, and we were overwhelmed that people felt like that.
Yeah.
Like we'd always been nobodies, and the thought that people wanted to support us was lovely.
Yeah, well, the flowers were starting to, and teddy bears and that were starting to pile up on the corner. So the councillor, Fiona Cunningham, had said, well, I think we can move it down to Bill Hewitt Park.
Yeah.
And people can leave their gifts and thoughts there because it's just spilling out everywhere. So that's when they said, well, if you'd like, we'd like to organise a vigil, and so you guys don't have to do anything. We'll organise it all and put the word out. But we were just so touched. There was so many people, I suppose we'd lost touch with over the years because we went our separate ways. And it was mainly the people that I met from when I moved to Brisbane in 1980 to come down here and play football. And I think we all formed a very strong bond back there then, and they were forever friends. And those sort of friends that you don't see for 6 months, 12 months, 10 years. But next time you see them, you can start that conversation as if it was 20 years ago, sitting in the pub having a good old chat.
Yeah.
We never lost touch in that respect. So everyone just banded around. Hannah's friends. There were so many people that were there, that was...
I had old school friends turn up, and they were living on the other side of Brisbane. It was just amazing.
And did that help? That help you guys process?
I don't know. I think I was numb,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Yeah.
It was lovely to see that and feel the support, but I don't know, in all honesty, if it helped. It
At the time, I suppose...
didn't not help.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I couldn't say whether, it made me feel stronger or that, but it was just lovely to see.
Yeah.
And people came from Toowoomba,
Yes.
came down, but then again, we started getting these stories. We didn't need to hear them at that time. They're their dramas, their problem. And I'm thinking, oh, really, love, I'm still trying to process my own grief here. How can I, But we're lucky Tomo and Shannon were there. They would see this and they'd sort of, oh, hang on, we're going to take you over here.
When there's a tragedy of the magnitude that what you guys suffered with Hannah and the children, people quite don't often know how to deal with it, what to say. Like I've had people that have had situations not dissimilar to what you've gone through, and people avoid them on the street. People that because they don't know what to say.
Yes.
Oh, there's Lloyd and Sue. What do we? Oh, I'll avoid.
We've had that a lot. I've had people come up to me 3 years later and say, I've met them somewhere. I've said, oh yeah, here you go. I said, oh look, I really wanted to call you, but I didn't know what to say. I said, all you had to just say was hello.
Yeah.
I said, I'm happy. Like, if I take your call or leave a message and I'll call you back, when I can. Yeah. So basically from that day, I think I put my phone on silent.
Yeah.
And I just look at it now and then and go, oh, yeah, okay, I'll ring that person. I know them. Okay, ring them. Didn't know that number. Let it go. If they left a message, I'd get back to them.
And quite often people in your situations, or one person in particular, said that the best thing someone could say to me was just not trying to make you feel better by wise words, because there's not just thinking of you.
Yeah,
yes.
And
that's it.
Give you a cuddle.
Yeah.
One of the girls I worked with rang me the next morning, and all she said was, F love, I've got no words. And it was just so true. And I said, I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But something as simple as that.
Yeah, and it was.
It's profound in the simplicity of it. Yeah. There was a park named Hannah's Place, the portion in the park.
Yes.
Is that feel nice for you to know that
it does.
She hasn't been forgotten?
We go up on the 19th of Feb every year, and we go up on Hannah's birthday and have a drink. Yeah. It's nice.
I mean, the council just did that off the bat and said, look, we're going to do this little bench in the Bill Hewitt Park, and a little cover, so people can just come, sit, talk, reflect, whether they think about Hannah or whether they think about someone else.
Yeah.
And then they put the sign up, Hannah's Place, and then what happened.
Yeah.
Just so people will know down the track,
who Hannah
was.
Yeah.
But I don't think a lot of people will forget her,
No, I'm sure that won't be the case. So, small steps for Hannah. What's the aims and goals of that group?
To get coercive control laws, standalone laws in every state would be wonderful, and education.
Yeah.
And saving women. Hannah she was in the process of applying to the police force when she was killed, because she said, I understand it, I can help women like myself. So that's one of our goals. She's not here to do it, so we want to save women. But education's our big thing now.
I think it's got to be twofold, and sometimes I get concerned when there's a crime, domestic violence, we're talking here, and the attitude is, okay, well, we're going to make the laws tougher, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But it's got to be a multi-layered approach, I think, to make a difference. Let's talk about coercive control, because I talked about when we met at that function, one of the things I walked away inspired, and I don't know if you were steering the politicians or the Attorney Generals to me, but I came back with their thinking, 100% this has to be done. And I've gone on about coercive controls in a lot of different podcasts and different forums, because it just makes sense to me. Now, for those that don't know what coercive control, what we're talking about here, coercive control laws, I'll refer back to the police just to explain it. We'll dumb it down. In my day in the police, without coercive control, we get called to a domestic, and you get called to too many domestics. What's happened here? Well, nothing. Well, the neighbour's called. There's a disturbance. Invariably, and this is the bad old days. You'd look to the woman, and the woman say, no, I'm fine, even though you can tell that she's scared, but the husband's standing right there. We improved policing to domestic type assaults or family violence to the point where, okay, we've got the power of the AVO. We'll take out a family violence order or whatever, the thing that Hannah took out. That helps to a degree, but it doesn't circumvent it. And police, we look at things very black and white. Like, well, if there's no assault, like if I'm talking I turn up at your place, there's Lloyd and Sue, I haven't been assaulted, but he's done this, done that. Well, there's not really legislation for it.
No.
Coercive control is making it a law that can be acted upon about the behaviour and control of a person in an intimate relationship. I think it's a no-brainer. Now, it was passed in Parliament here in Queensland on 6th of February. 6th of March. Is it 6th of March?
Yeah.
Check my notes. And in New South Wales, they've got it. It's been flagged in Parliament there. I think it's a great step. And would you guys agree that powers like that could have made a difference in Hannah's situation?
Oh, definitely. Well, for one, she would have realised it was actually a crime or domestic violence
Well, that's
being
a good
committed
point,
against
sir.
her.
Yeah.
So I think she may have looked at things differently, probably acted earlier, quicker.
And then, like we were saying with the AVO, the DVOs, whatever you want to call them, you know, they're just a bit of paper.
Yeah.
How does that stop someone from, okay, it says, you're not allowed to go within a kilometre,
And
500 metres, whatever.
When you're talking this idiot that,
means nothing to him.
he's not going to worry about that.
No. So, this is where I think we spoke earlier the other day about it, monitoring.
Okay.
We've got to go down that path, definitely, nationally. And a register. Everyone who does a DVO or whatever, they need to be registered. So nationally, they know that they've had a DVO or put a DVO on them. Then also, they need to do a program.
Yep.
A perpetrator program.
I don't want to forget these points because they're all very valid points I want to break down. Okay.
Won't that make it a bit easier to follow them, to know where they're at, if they are getting too close? Especially in Hannah's case, we would have known that he was hiding beside the house.
Let's get on our soapbox here, and hopefully people are listening to the podcast. Like an ankle bracelet, how would that make a difference? I just, in this day and age of technology the way it is, I for the life of me don't understand why that's not implemented ASAP.
And there's got to be something out there, but it could be like an app.
We could do it during COVID, couldn't we? We could track everyone's movements during COVID, and that was everyone. Yeah. Why can't we have there's a domestic violence situation. Someone gets an ankle bracelet put onto them because that's the person that's, Rowan, in the case of Hannah. If he comes within 5 kilometres, or make it 10 kilometres, alarms go off. Police are notified, Hannah's notified, and all of a sudden, when she can live her life in peace knowing that she's safe in that he's not close by. Okay, people say, but they could cut the ankle bracelet off. The moment it's cut off, the alarm goes
off.
And Hannah's notified.
Yes.
So there's all these protocols in place. To me, it just seems like a no-brainer. And what are the arguments not? Or invasion of privacy or this or that? I don't see it. They've only got the ankle bracelet on them because they're repeat offenders or they've been warned and they've done it again and it could circumvent it. Can anyone in this room find a problem with
Not
that?
at all.
Definitely not,
Yeah.
I actually see like a little spike or a shock.
Like the barking dog.
Yeah, why not? If they come within that close, they get a bit of a shock and go, hang on, I'll step back now.
Yeah.
No, but I think it would save lives.
100%
save lives.
100% would save lives.
Yeah.
And why can't we talk about we're going to get tough, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. I understand that. Tighten up the bail laws, make it so people don't get a chance. But in the conversations we had the other day, it was about everyone deserves a chance. Yeah, we'll give them one chance.
That's right.
But if they fail on that chance, here's your bracelet, idiot.
That's right.
And you come within 5 kilometres of the person that's at risk, you're going to jail.
Yep. I like that.
And it's a register.
Yeah.
A national register.
On the register thing, and I often have this conversation with sex offenders and that, and I different type of situation, but let's do it for domestic violence register. People say it's an invasion of privacy. Okay, why don't we have it like this? So I've never been charged with domestic violence. You haven't been charged with domestic violence. I'm happy to go on the register. If I happen to be out dating someone or meeting someone, can I check whether you're on the register? Yeah, you can check. Here's my name. I'm on the register. So it's the idiots that have got these charges won't be on the register. Yeah. So it's not invasion of anyone.
That's a good way.
We flip it a little bit. It's a voluntary.
Yeah.
It's voluntary. So I'm happy to go on the register because I haven't got a charge. So if anyone wants to check me out, Gary Jubelin, blah, blah, blah. Yep. No, why can't we do that?
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be
I like
perfect.
it.
Yeah.
To me, that seems like a simple solution, and we
Yes.
circumvent all this. It's an invasion of privacy, and everyone's got the... Forget that. I volunteer to go on the register so anyone can contact me. Little things like that. Now, education. Again, I keep repeating this because I've seen it too many times over my career that if something's going wrong with a crime, we're going to get tough on this, and we're going to, we're mandatory sentence, we're going to do this. We need to educate people about domestic violence, about coercive control. We need to call people out on it, and it needs to start at a young age, all the way through. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, we're now, small steps, I should say. We've got two brilliant people who are tackling it on two different aspects. One's the HOLT program. Dave Kramer, who used to train with Hannah, he's now a behavioural specialist. Scientist, yeah. And he's doing one for the children.
Yep.
So high school age children at the moment.
Yep.
So we're still, and it's taken a while because we want to get it right.
Yeah.
Because we're talking children here, and they're our future, and we want them to behave properly in relationships. They need to learn how to behave properly, and break up properly too.
Yeah.
So Dave's just about ready to do another pilot and put it out
And
there.
so he's going
Going to the schools.
Going in the schools.
Yeah, so I think Mansfield up here in Queensland, he's going to Mansfield, got them lined up to do the next pilot, and then we should be right to just start rolling it out.
Yeah.
However, he can, how often he can. He's got other work to do, but with both programs, we don't want to franchise it. We don't want to just go out there, push.
Yeah.
We want it delivered properly and quietly. The other one is Michael J.
So people, if it's HOLT.
HOLT
HOLT.
program.
Yep, okay. HOLT
HALT.
program. Yep.
So
And Dave's working with the university and professors, getting their input on how to speak to the children, and also talking to the children about what they're seeing on social media, and how to understand that, and how a lot of it's not right, and how to deal with their feelings, and how if a lot of boys get upset and they lash out, Dave talks about how to deal with those feelings.
Yeah.
And Dave's, a fit young fellow, and he explains or talks about it's okay to cry. And Dave may get tears while he's talking because he loved Hannah and the children. They were good friends. And when the kids see him get emotional, they see it's okay. It's okay for a man to be.
He's a person they can look up to
Yes.
that can also show emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly,
So
yeah.
he's really hitting it as not accusing all teenage boys as being potential perpetrators, but just how to deal with your emotions and what you see on social media and just coping with teenage life as such, and respectful relationships.
So, and dealing with your emotions is an important part. Lloyd, I look at you, you look at me. I think we've shared ground when you're a young bloke. You didn't know how to deal with your emotions.
No.
You were either cranky or you were happy.
Yes.
That was...
And
because that was the role models that we were shown.
That's right. There was my era too. There was no mentors. I didn't have a mentor. Like, a few people did, but I thought, who needs a mentor? And then if you did something, you stuffed up at work, you started showing a bit of emotion. Harden up, mate. Have a cup of concrete. Come on, move on. And I think that's sort of maybe made me a bit of a tough old bugger, and realise that there's more to life. Okay, we've had a terrible tragedy, the worst tragedy ever, but I need to move on. I need to. I'll never get over it. Don't get me wrong, it's never there, but we had to, just get up and keep going. And I think we said earlier, we just helped each other and we spoke, we talked. And this is where I think it's conversation. We need to have conversations. So we're going to have conversations with children in schools about behaving properly and about their emotions and showing them or not showing them, all that sort of stuff.
And it's not building a soft society. I think the problem we got, and this just discussions, if blokes break up, like a relationship, and I won't use Rowan because I think he's an outlier in that. But women sit down and debrief, go through the nitty gritty of it or whatever.
They do.
If Lloyd and I are sitting there and broke up, that's no good, mate. What are you drinking?
Yeah.
It's almost that dismissive type thing.
Yeah.
And
Who
I
are you
think,
picking this week in the tips?
Yeah, don't have the hard subjects. That's just
No,
blokes
that's right.
being
That's right.
blokes, and that's what I
We
think.
shy away from it.
And I think that's where you get these people caught up in this just spiralling circle of obsession or whatever. They haven't got the release. They don't know how to talk through it.
Yeah.
So, education at the school. So Dave's full name?
Kramer.
Dave Kramer. Okay,
Yes.
and the Holt program.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if people want to
Yeah.
see what's going
Yeah,
on
just
there.
get onto our
That's great.
website, and we've got a section there for education, and they can
Yeah.
just send us an email, and we'll try and fit them in.
I do think it is a way to approach it.
Yeah.
Definitely a way to approach it. You've got to re-educate. On the podcast series Breaking Badness, I went into a prison, speaking to inmates in a maximum security prison. And there was something that was discussed with me when I actually got to sit down and speak to some of the inmates. And, what are you in here for? And some were in there for horrendous crimes, blah, blah, blah. And then the topic of domestic violence came up. And they said the problem that what happens if someone is, being charged with domestic violence, breached the AVO or whatever, end up in prison, they're in there. They're in there with angry men, and they're angry, and then they serve their time for breaching the AVO, and then they get out, and they're just been pacing up and down their cell going, that bitch, why'd she report me? So they're
blaming it.
They're
Yeah.
getting out
Yes.
angry, and it's not, we know it's stupid, but this is the logic going in their mind. And someone said, and there was just he's obviously spent a lot of time in prison, this bloke, there needs to be something to help them in there to work to navigate away from this. Otherwise, you just put in men that were angry to start with, that's why they're in here, and then they're in here and they're getting out angrier, and no one's, an intervention program.
That's right.
That type of thing. So
that would work well.
But all these things, there's so many different layers to it, isn't it?
There
And-
is.
Exactly.
And falling back on the politician side of it and the police side of it, where bail is being given, there's some warning signs there. And I think, someone mentioned that there was someone that was bailed after they killed their ex's pet. To me, and again, not a psychologist, but that's warning.
Oh, big time.
100%.
And how they get bail from there. So there's a lot of things that need to be done to make a difference. Are you guys confident? Like you've been given a platform, and it's a platform that you certainly didn't want, and I sense an easier life for you would be stepping away. Do you think we are getting better at dealing with domestic and family violence?
It's hard. I think we're getting more aware.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's getting more aware. The conversations are great at the moment because we're seeing people talking about it.
Yeah.
And it's not just, the coercive control, but it's all domestic and family violence. So now the federal government's getting involved finally.
Yeah.
It's taken 4 years nearly 4 years from Hannah until the federal government's turned around and said, we need a national inquiry, we need a national input. So let's get all the states together. And that's what we've been pushing for, is get all the states to bloody turn around and do something. It'd be great if there was just one law that suited every state and territory. But unfortunately, that's never going to happen. So we've got to make sure that these other states and territories actually do something, just not be Queensland, New South Wales, and hopefully South Australia. Well, there's already some laws in Tasmania, but they probably need to be bolstered up a bit. But we're seeing a shift in policing.
Yep.
We've heard some really good stories come out of it.
Tell us that, because people think I bash up on the police sometimes, but I love good stories about policing.
Will you tell that, Chrissy?
Oh, a friend of ours up the coast who 20 years ago had been in a domestic violence relationship, which was quite physical. And she's since, as often happens, has married a fellow, and she's in the same situation now. But New Year's Eve, the police were called. He got out a carving knife and rang the police and said that she was trying to attack him. And they clearly saw through it for what it was. But the police did advise that one should leave the house.
Yeah.
No one did. But the police helped get him to an AA meeting
Yeah.
They got him to a psychologist.
Yep.
And they really kept checking in and doing welfare checks. And she said the change in 20 years to how the police reacted was amazing.
Okay, well that's credit to the police. I do think they've become aware of the situation.
Oh, they have, and we've seen it here in Queensland.
Yeah.
You know, especially when we also with the foundation, we give grants out.
Yeah.
So that before we actually sort of got involved, well, we didn't think we'd be able to do the education because just didn't know how to set that up. So we had all this money piling up. You know, people were just donating to us, you know, to help. We thought, well, okay, we got this money, and we spoke to our patron, Nina Schrimmer, and she said, all you need to do is just sit on it, put it in the bank, you know, maybe start giving grants out to
worthwhile projects.
Yeah, people that foundations that can't get the grants or missed out on grants. So we just put a call out. And our goal is, and we're going to reach that quite comfortably, is we'd like to give $1 million out within 5 years.
Yeah.
And that's coming around pretty quick. And we'll definitely have it before the 5 years. So and just give out whatever. And one of them was to Centre of Women and Co. Here, a little foundation. They have counsellors. And what they did, they were putting them out with the police to go out and help in the domestic violence in the Logan area. And the funding had run out.
Yeah.
So they're going to shut it down. I read this in the paper, and then so did our chairman of the board, and we sort of both had the same idea at the same time. Well, let's do something about it. Let's get in touch. Let's maybe give them some money. We can't do it forever, but maybe pay for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then see what happens.
And so that was having a counsellor go out with the police to attend a
domestic dispute, or people who didn't want to come in because they've actually had problems with the police to start with. They hated going to the police.
A lot of distrust.
Yeah, distrust, you know, that sort of thing. So they would go, look, I'll go down and see them, have a cuppa, or bring them in, and I'll actually sit there with you through the interview so you're comfortable, right? And then I'll take you back home. Just little things like that. Yeah, little
things like that make a big difference.
So we did that.
And they also were helping the police with how to phrase the questions.
How to navigate.
Yeah, they were saying, like, how about you ask this way?
Yeah.
And that helped the police a lot because they understood better and they were getting better answers.
I think the police want to do it. They don't set out to do a bad job.
No.
And I know you speak to any police officer and they'll all put their hand up to how intimidating it was the first time you got called to a domestic, because invariably you were younger than the person you were going there to tell how to behave, and you walk in there and go, I don't know what to do.
That's right. So if you've got a young constable like that and you've got someone who's experienced helping you and advising you on what to say and what to look for makes a huge difference.
Well, it's, again, so many different things to look at, isn't it?
Well, the police here are actually trialling that in 3 of our worst domestic violence areas at the moment, having co-responders go out.
And when we went down there to, they wanted to thank us and that, you know, and do the whole novelty check thing and hand that over. Had a bit of a morning tea down there, and talking to one of the senior police there, he said, mate, you don't believe the difference in policing. He said once before we actually had these guys on as co-responders, you know, we'd put a call out, there's a domestic dispute at such and such. Everyone's going, hang on. There's also a car crash. We'll go to the car crash. They're all putting their hand up to the car crash. And then all of a sudden, you know, they realised that they were helping and they were doing really good for the community. They were getting to the bottom of everything. He said no one wants to go to the car crash anymore. They all want to go to the DV situation. I said, how good's that?
That's great. That's great. And I think policing, if you can prevent crime, you want to prevent crime. It makes everyone's world a better place if you can prevent it. So all
going back to that education thing, this is where we've got to educate the perpetrator.
Most definitely. We've talked about programs coming in, legislation, different things that can done. I know in the conversation you guys we had the other day, we're talking about people, friends, you, me, have got to call out other people if we see it going bad and not take that sort of, it's a little bit awkward, I don't want to buy into this. So if we see things happening, as a friend, as a friend, associate or whatever, you got to speak up. Would you guys agree on that?
Very much so.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Even just to hear your friend say a derogatory remark about a woman, you know, say, mate, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like cool. And I think that's our other program too is called Hannah's Story.
Yeah.
So that's for more the adult corporate sort of thing, football or clubs, and that started rolling out late last year. And Michael J has done all the framework for it. So Michael's an educated talker, speaker, and he has done this on the podcast Hannah's Story.
Yeah.
So it's gender-based.
Yeah.
Because it's Hannah's Story.
Yeah.
And there's so many red flags there. And it's quite hard hitting, very to the bone. But it has got some great reviews.
Yeah.
He delivers it as a male too, talking about a male, doing the wrong thing. And I think, it's a good program because it shows you the red flags. It shows you what to look for. And actually, speak about people.
And gives it a true life story.
Yes.
There's the photo of Hannah and the kids. And also he has some of the clips from the police cams when they were dealing with Rowan. So people can see.
See it. And Sue, you made the point, if people sitting around and they say something derogatory or whatever, and Lloyd, you would have seen it. You sit and they're not.
I was part of it.
Yeah.
As a footballer, playing football, we all made those comments and that.
I could imagine. That bitch of a wife wants me to go home. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. We don't have to get too precious, but we've got to. Yeah, the world has changed, and we've got to go. If this bloke if it's not said in total jest or nothing meant, they've got to be called on it. You shouldn't be speaking about your wife like that.
Exactly.
A bit of respect.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's not that hard, is it? Really, no. It just takes a bit of ticker just to stand up sometimes and not just sort of shy away from it. Your life, guys, you wouldn't have expected your life to be where it is now. You talked at the start of part one about you have to continue on because you've got family. What other option have you got? Looking back, what do you think life's all about for you two now? Is it a day-to-day struggle, or you've got purpose, or you've got memories?
Day-to-day struggle still, really.
Yeah, it is.
To cope with stuff. And then other days you feel you're on top of it and you got some goals, and then back to square one. It's,
Yeah, I don't know. Every year since, I think I feel more tired. Just starting to lose a bit of that zest, that energy, I suppose. To sort of get out there and keep knocking on doors, trying to talk to politicians, doing report interviews and that. Just finding it harder this year. I don't know. Maybe it's just that third, fourth year coming around. Maybe just need a really good break. But we had a good break over Christmas. So, and I was ready to think, well, okay, this year we've got a few things lined up, but we want to sort of just step back this year a bit, just let the boys concentrate on that and help out wherever we can there. It's been an emotional ride again, knock us about a bit, but, we've sort of got to keep just moving on. And I think we'll just take it slowly this year, and we're actually going down to New South Wales next month to do a presentation to the New South Wales Police.
Yep, great.
because
They've asked us to come down.
their laws are starting.
Yeah.
And we were so grateful to be, honoured to be asked to go down there and talk to them.
I think that's such a great idea by New South Wales Police to get you involved, because I know if police sit there, they can be a bit cynical. You guys come down there and tell your story and that, and there won't be a person in the room that's not sort of switched onto it. So that's good. You got to make sure you look after yourselves, guys, too. Like I've seen people through my years in homicide that they're on that campaign. You got to be able to look after yourselves.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. Take a bit of time this year and just
and
enjoy ourselves.
And I think even at that function before the COVID lockdown, you guys said to me, and I still remember it, that you're just tired. You're doing so many things and you're being pulled from pillar to post. I say to you, and I pulled you into the podcast. I'm saying take it easy. What a hypocrite I am. Yeah. But the work that you're doing is worthwhile. You are definitely making a difference, and you've inspired me just sitting down talking to you, because I think a couple of things that we stumble across or you've thought of. It's just so obvious, isn't it? Like with the coercive control. Well, did it take us hundreds of years to work out we needed this? It's so blatantly obvious. Ankle bracelets, let's push that. I'm going to champion that everywhere I go. Let's just keep going. Ankle bracelet, I think that's the go. Register, we can get around that privacy stuff by just doing it. I'll be the first one to register. Yeah, I'll register. Do it that way. And then education.
Yeah.
And
Definitely.
And I do believe that there has been a bit of a shift between, interstate police. They're starting to information share now.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah.
Policing is always evolving. They're trying to improve. No one goes into
good.
policing.
I'm really
they
glad
don't go
that they
into
are.
policing to stuff up. So everyone's trying to make it better in policing.
Yeah.
And there's no one, as if you've seen with the police that you've come across, attending crimes like that. No one wants to attend crimes like that, and it impacts on them. So everyone wants to do a better job. I think we're understanding domestic violence on the national level. As you said, the federal government has got in. One of the impressive people I had on the pod, I might flag it if she's happy for me to mention it, but she was a police officer, but she was also a victim of that coercive control and domestic violence and all that. And it was really interesting, the insight. And she's thinking, I'm a police officer. How can I be a victim? And I think a lot of people think that way, and then it dawned on her, well, I am a victim. I'm one of these people that I go to help, and she's got an interesting insight into policing and what can be done on the domestic violence scene. So
Great.
with all these people working, you sound like you're getting a good team around yourselves, and
We are.
And I mean, like I said, we just decided to have a conversation.
yeah.
And 3 years later, 4 years later now, we still haven't. We've managed to get governments and people to work together here in Queensland. We've managed to get, because we called a bit of a round table, or we wanted to learn more about coercive control. We formed a little meeting thing once a month where we held, coercive control dinners.
Yeah.
And did separate things. So other foundations, they did some networking. We started collaborating. We managed to get the foundations working together, where we find here in Queensland they tend to fight against each other because they want the money, they want the thing. And I just think, why? We're all got the same purpose.
Goal.
We just got that common goal. Can't we work together?
Well, I think the beauty of you two, and you flag it as if it's a negative, I see it as a positive. You've gone, we're just average people, and you cut through the bullshit and go, it's not that complicated. So you don't overthink things. You just, well, why don't we do that? And I think that's what resonates with people.
And I think what one woman said to me too, from one of the foundations, I got up and said something one day. She said, geez, I love you, Lloyd. You just don't beat around the bush. You just say as it is and then sit down. I said, well, I don't want to drag on and, do 1,000 words. I just want to get my point across. And I'm just a simple person. So that's how I think life should be simple. Why should it be complicated?
Well,
we overcomplicate things too much.
I agree, and that's the beauty of what you guys are doing. So, I just want to firstly thank you for coming on the podcast and sharing your story, because I know it's not easy. But when I say people like you inspire me, I mean that, because what you've overcome and how you've tried to steer your life in a positive direction, full credit to you. And the fact that you've stayed together. You must go through some tough times, and I can see the support. I saw at the moment I sat down beside you for that lunch, that you had each other's backs, and it's beautiful to see.
Yeah, we always have, haven't we?
We have. We talk.
Yeah, we talk.
Yeah.
Oh, she does most of the talking.
Ron, you can't say that. Don't be disrespectful.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys, for coming on, and let's stay in touch, and let's if ever I can push anything from the media connections or whatever, let me know, and vice versa.
Fantastic.
Let's stay in touch.
Thanks for having us.
Good.
Okay. See you, Lloyd. See you, sir.
Bye.
Bye, Gary.
I was a little bit worried about doing this podcast. It's such a heavy topic, but I've walked away like I did from the first time I met them at a charity event. They inspire me. Well, you can still see the pain etched on their faces and the emotion that they carry, which is understandable, losing their daughter and their 3 grandchildren such a horrific way. But what inspires me most is the work that they're doing to try and make sure this type of thing doesn't happen. They were instrumental in campaigning for coercive control, which is such a powerful legislation that I think will make a big difference in the domestic violence space. And they got their charity organisation set set up Small Steps for Hannah. Really impressive people, just good people. As they call themselves average people. I think they're a little bit above average. They're inspirational, and just a tragedy that's happened and it happens too often in this the country, domestic and family violence.